Coming to you live from the set of Stranger Things. It's Rob as a podcast, and now here's the guy who is not Dan Giesling's cousin-in-law. I'm Rob Sisterino. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our Thursday night eviction show here. After another Big Brother eviction, we are less than 3 weeks to go until the Big Brother finale, and we had sort of a boring lead up to a pretty explosive eviction tonight, and we'll talk about all of that and what's to come here with our panel. Of course, it's round robin week where we're going to have all of the LFC matched up, one show at a time, and tonight we should have maybe an explosive pairing on the show. Of course, that you have him here with us every Thursday. He was here with us last night also for a very exciting show. Brett Walgamont. Brett, how are you?
Rob, I'm doing great. I think we have confirmation tonight that Michelle is definitely a kleptomaniac. On her way out the door, she stole Pablo, which for those who don't watch the live feeds, that's Paul's pool floaty. She's definitely a klepto. Man, I'm pissed.
Yes, as we all should be for that. And then here with us this week that he is sure to know the secret identity of Michelle. Here's Taryn Armstrong. Taryn, how are you? Taryn, that you are an expert in all things Dan Giesling. Is Michelle actually Dan Giesling's cousin-in-law?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm sure she was trained by Dan Giesling. That shows off like why she did so well in the game. Just kidding. That's not a Taryn answer. You wouldn't get an answer like that from Taryn. Actually, she's terrible, and so is Brent, and everyone's terrible.
Yeah. Wow. Nicole's the worst HOH ever. She didn't even strategize with Big Meech this week. What a terrible HOH Nicole was, that she didn't even come down and try to strategize with Big Meech once.
Yeah, and then what a dumb move to take her out, to take Michelle out. When okay, Michelle was targeting Nicole, but still super dumb, right?
So dumb, so dumb. But Taryn, in all seriousness, do we have anything to support the claim that Dan Giesling is in any way related to Big Meech?
They're from the same state. I mean,
why would she say that? And if you missed it, that's what she said. And it's sort of like nobody reacted to it. It was sort of the last thing she said on her way out as she sort of stormed out of the house. Like, oh yeah, and by the way, Dan Giesling is my cousin-in-law. What?
Well, I don't even know what a cousin-in-law is. Right. First of all, I guess
Dan Giesling is married to her cousin.
Maybe she could be related. Like third cousin removed or something. I mean, I'm sure she found a way to be related.
Why would we not know this yet, Taryn? Why would unless Dan? Okay, and here's the thing. Maybe that if this was true, like maybe Dan knows her. He's like, she's crazy. I don't want anything to do with her. She's going to make me look bad. And I don't know. Somebody in the chat is telling me look at Dan's tweet. So
I immediately started looking it up.
Yeah, well, I looked at Dan's Twitter, and he didn't say anything for a couple of minutes. So has Dan officially weighed in on this, Taryn?
I'm looking for it now. She is a big fan of Dan, and what I think this probably is like the kind of thing where she's trying to pull like a Zach Rance and just kind of like put some like unsubstantiated rumor in the house on her way out as a sort of
why what would that change ultimately? Oh my God, Dan Giesling's cousin's on the jury.
Would make her feel better about herself. I mean, look, Rob, I think it's pretty clear that Michelle doesn't have all of her faculties right now, and she's dealing with a few things. She has low self-confidence. She doesn't feel good about herself. She was just evicted. She feels like a big loser in the game. Yeah. And on the way out, she wants to get him back and say, Nicole's a two-faced liar. Get her out. Victor's kissing butt, and oh, by the way, I'm Dan Giesling's cousin-in-law. Whatever the hell that means.
Yeah. I found Dan's tweet.
Yes, I have it as well.
He said something finally? What did he say?
So he tweeted out, while I'm on the West Coast this weekend for PAX West. Brent, did you know that Dan Giesling was attending a PAX Bros convention? I didn't even know that they were that popular.
Man, they get around, don't they, those PAX brothers?
Wow.
So I met him at a PAX Bro East convention.
Yes. Yes, that he says, should I swing by the jury house and meet my quote-unquote new cousin? And it's a picture of Kanye shaking his head. So that seems to be, Dan Giesling is denying that he
Smartly denying all
Dan
association.
Giesling officially disavows any knowledge of being related to Big Meech.
I'm shocked, Rob. Shocked that Michelle would tell such a
Shocking
lie on the way out the door. Yeah.
Why? Why?
I mean, why does she do any of the things that she does in the Big Brother house? Why did she sleep all week when she was the nominee? She knew, Rob, she knew that she was going to go home because she realized to herself earlier this week that, you know what, if Nicole hasn't come to me and told me, hey, don't worry, you're safe, you're definitely staying, and make a deal for next week, then obviously she's the target, and she's right, and she did absolutely nothing about it. Nothing.
Yes. Yes.
To be fair, maybe she just wanted attention. She did get Dan to just tweet about her right now. So, maybe this was a good plan put into effect by Michelle.
Well, you're always making excuses for him, aren't you?
Excuses.
Yeah.
Excuses.
I don't know. So Taryn, you're saying you like the move from Big Meech to
No,
say
I don't like the move from Big Meech.
Yes.
I was making fun of her, if you couldn't tell, Brent.
Yeah.
All right,
Boy.
yes.
Will someone on the BBOTT, can someone, one of the future contestants, say that they are somehow related to me or one of the LFC on the feed? That would really be a dream.
I don't know if that's OTT enough, though.
Right? That not OTT. By the way, we did find out word today came down that there's going to be the fall season of Big Brother, and we saw several commercials during the live show of this fall, the new Big Brother. It's called Big Brother OTT. Brent, you down with OTT?
I guess. I'm so excited. Apparently, OTT is a form of internet, like a camera. Like, I mean, maybe Taryn knows a little bit more about this. It's a form of like multi-platform-esque way of doing business on the internet. I'm not even sure. I guess that's a thing.
You down with OTT?
I'm not down with OTT.
No.
I saw this title on Twitter, and I legitimately thought it was a joke for like a good minute before I was like, oh, you know what? This probably isn't a joke. This is exactly the kind of thing that they would do. And
Chat room, are you down with OTT?
It's so funny when I saw the hashtag online, which is like BBOTT. I thought it was like related to like GOT, like Game of Thrones. I was like, what is that? I have no idea what that is. Like, and then I saw it. Yeah.
Well, what they're really doing is they're advertising me. It's the bot essentially, babot.
The babot.
The BB bots. Yeah. And we all know that I'm the robot of RHAP and Big Brother.
Yes,
so
yes.
Yeah.
I might be competing with Zingbot for that spot, but whatever.
Yeah. It'll be a huge final six competition when it comes down to who's coming off the block when the OTT comes down to play. Yeah. All right.
They're already halfway there with like, what was it like? What did he say?
Dope. Yeah.
Dope. That was it.
Yeah. Tev. So that's going to be what's coming up there later on this fall. Scott St. Pierre is messaging me that this OTT stands for over the top, a term used for the delivery of film and TV content via the internet. So sort of like with an Apple TV or a Roku. But I think that probably they're going for maybe the double entendre of it's going to be so crazy. It's going to be over the top. You know, they didn't call it Big Brother OOC for out of control. It's OTT. So, well, I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun with that in the fall. But now, back to the task at hand. We're down to the final six. I really did think that, and we talked about the whole order of events for Nicole heading into this final six and why it was sort of imperative and a really good move to take Nicole out of the mix. But I feel like that it was a fumble here going into the end zone where we ended up with Nicole deciding to not tell James. Now, I'm assuming that it was a blindside. Brent?
Well, it was a blindside as far as we know. You know, Michelle said she did do some campaigning. It seemed like she might have had an inkling in the last 2 hours there. I mean, she had an inkling all week, let's be honest about it. But I will say this. Yes, I agree with you from a game standpoint of view that maybe Nicole and Corey dropped the ball a little bit right at the goal line by refusing to tell James and Natalie that, hey, we're going to evict Michelle. On the other hand, it was like Leon led, where like they picked up the fumble and then dropped it and picked it up again because Michelle on her way out gave Nicole all the ammunition that she needs in the world to explain to James and Natalie look, this is why I had to get rid of her. And you saw her doing that in the episode. She was like, this is why I had to get rid of her. James, do you see how she is? She's coming after me. That's why she had to go. So, from Nicole's point of view, she's totally justified, and I think she can salvage a relationship with James and Natalie.
Taryn, I want to get your take on this, because to me, I thought that Nicole ended up getting a lot of blood on her hands in what should have been potentially a clean kill had we had either James or Natalie voting to go against Meech. If she could have basically sold it where it wasn't going to be a tiebreak vote, then maybe Nicole doesn't get lashed out upon or onto as badly by Meech.
Yeah, and what I think is going to happen here is that James went on all week about Nicole wouldn't do that to me. She wouldn't blindside me. She would give me a heads up. I've always given her a heads up. And I think just like the fact that he said that, especially to Natalie, it's gonna be a pride thing where it's like he can't just let that go, because he made very adamant statements to people he cared about that like, no, I've got this, I know this, she wouldn't do that to me. I think he's gonna be upset about it. If she didn't tell him, we don't know for sure if she had or not. But I agree with you. I think that she kind of Nicole let herself vulnerable to this sort of lashing out from Michelle, especially when like Michelle is going off on Victor, which is great for Nicole, I think. And then Nicole steps in and is like, "Listen, I'm really sorry." And then Michelle
and you,
and you.
Yeah, what did I say to Nicole? She really hurt Nicole's feelings.
Right?
Yeah.
Really upset.
It was like,
Taryn,
hey, don't forget I've got the knife in your back. I was the one.
Taryn,
Yeah.
I mean, like, what would you have Nicole do? Would you have her, break the tie in the eviction and let her do it for like 30 seconds on the way out, or would you tell her 3 hours beforehand, 10 hours beforehand?
Why do you have to tell her?
James is going to quickly tell her. Come on. I mean, he's going to let her know. The cat's going to be out of the bag, and then you're going to have somebody who absolutely hates your guts in Michelle going around the house for, 2, 3, 10 hours, telling everybody why you shouldn't get to the end, blowing up your game, talking about all the deals you've made, trying to flip the script. I think Nicole played it the best way she could have, and Michelle gave her a blank check when she said all that stuff going out the door about why she had to get rid of her.
Let me pitch something else then.
All right.
That James, we knew all week long, I was saying that whoever takes this BB bribe, it's going to be James. He's the greediest guy in the house. He loves money. Taryn, if you were going to blindside him anyway, could you have used the BB bribe to soften the blow on James? Like, hey, James, look, we're going to break the tie. We're going to vote out Meech. Take this $5,000. We're going to just take it. She's going home anyway. You could vote out Meech.
No, yeah, I mean, you could do that. And honestly, I think that, like, if she tells James, like, hey, we're going to vote Michelle out, like, maybe I'll bribe you to keep quiet about it, or to vote her out with us.
It could only be one action. It could only be one action.
That's why I said or, Brent.
Okay, all right. I'm just thinking, well, you can't do both, so it has to be one or the other. So if you get her to vote out Michelle, then you can't get him to be quiet about it by the terms of the contract.
That's being very technical.
That's how it was.
What are you, a genie, Brent, with these technicalities? That's two
a
wishes.
Genie with no pants.
Yes, can I wish for you to anonymously vote out Big Meech tonight? Can that be the wish?
And here's the thing too, right? Like even if James does break this silence and it unleashes Michelle on Nicole, I think that's great for Nicole. I think that, even though it's more time for Michelle to do that, it gives her more of an excuse to say, like, now this is James's fault. Like, James, you told Michelle this and I told you not to, and now she's on my case, and this is exactly why I needed to vote her out in the first place. And it's not so much a betrayal as like oh man, look what you've done now, James.
I don't know. I think Nicole played it the best way she could. I think the blame for tonight's events lays squarely at the feet of James, Natalie, and Michelle. Rob, seriously, I know I'm dating myself with this reference, but it was like Larry Moe and Curly from the Three Stooges. They were like, well, you go ask her. No, you ask her. No, you ask her. No, whoop, 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 whoop. Like, that was literally like the entire time. That's how they were for the entire week. And all of yesterday, since I talked to you last night, that's all they did all day long was like, no, you go ask her. You go ask her. Nah, she'd tell me. Nah, come on. Like, I was watching Insanity all week long.
Yeah, I thought Julie was pretty hard. Well, she wasn't hard on Big Meech, but she really made her look stupid when she's like, yeah, you said that Nicole's the worst HOH of all time, but didn't she get you out and you didn't talk to her? It's like, yeah, I know. She sucks. She's terrible. She was so stupid. Like, okay, Big Meech.
But you didn't campaign all week long. You laid in bed. taking a 12-hour nap every day. That's what
As
Julie
a
should have
super
said.
fan, Julie, she wanted to be in the audience. She was in the audience, Brent. She was in the audience,
Seriously.
front row
Right?
seat, watching this season.
That tells you the kind of person that we're dealing with. She holds on to things like she holds on to a grudge like I don't know, an 84-year-old woman. Like oh my God, like I just want you guys to know that I couldn't even get in the audience for this show. Literally stop tape to let everybody know that. And Julie's like, bitch, shut up. You got in the house. What are you talking about?
Wait, you think that she was trying to get one over on the audience?
I don't know, but she's got anything that happened to Michelle in the past, she's got to let everybody know about it. Like she holds grudges. That's how she is.
The fact that she had the gall to say in her diary rooms, like, Nicole is the worst, most boringest player ever. She's done absolutely nothing this week. Meanwhile, Nicole has been aligning with these two guys, organizing a plan to get you out, and you've been laying about doing absolutely nothing, constantly talking about do I need to go up there, guys? No, I don't want to. I just don't want to. I'm scared. Man, can you just do it for me?
Rob, this is what frustrates me, though, because Nicole, by her nature, is a non-confrontational player. Corey also, okay? James, Natalie, they're also non-confrontational players. And even Michelle, she didn't really want to go to Nicole and get the answer, so they're all just sitting on their thumbs, not talking to each other. We could have had an exciting week of feeds. Instead, we got absolutely nothing. I'm not even satiated with the 2 minutes that we got on the live show because, it really could have been so much more.
Yeah, what are you going to do? It was they really got exposed, that side of the house, of not having a game plan whatsoever. And so we lose Big Meech now, and we move on to the final six. And I think we're in a really wild spot because I think we gave Nicole and Corey a lot of credit on the show last night. We talked about what a master stroke this was going to be for Nicole. And obviously I mentioned that I didn't really like how she was put in this position to break the tie. But actually, Taryn, it sounds like you liked her in that spot. You feel like that this was a net positive for Nicole to sort of get reamed out by Michelle.
Not in the way that it happened. I think that if it was James's fault that it happened, he betrayed her trust and told Michelle, and then Michelle came after her, I think that's a good position for her to be in. But the way that it happened, it's still she still kind of betrayed James there. And I don't necessarily think that James will go after Nicole and Corey over Paul and Victor. But I do think that it has damaged that trust, and I think that's something that could come back to hurt her down the line.
Nicole and Corey came off looking so stupid during that whole, there was no drama going on in the house, and we had this 15-minute wild goose chase of, is Victor gonna vote? Victor's working with Big Meech. He's gonna evict Paul. He's evicting Paul. The whole plan is ruined. What do we do now?
Right.
It's all over. I can't believe it. He screwed us over. I can't believe it. Brent, was that clever editing to give us something there, or was that actually something they were really concerned about this week?
There were for a day and a half, maybe half a day. Nicole and Corey were worried about the fact that maybe Victor is working with James and Natalie, and he's going to keep Michelle and vote out his boy Paul. And then they quickly realized that's probably stupid. But I would say for a good 6 hours they were worried about it. They were considering giving him the bribe. Then they sort of discarded that idea. Then they brought it back when they had to do something with the bribe. The diary room had called Corey into the diary room for 5 different times. He said, ask him, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? They had to have something to put on the show since they, drummed up this bribe thing into such a big deal, and it literally just accomplished nothing except maybe gives Victor a little bit of gratitude and says thank you.
Who could have seen it coming that the bribe would end up doing absolutely nothing?
Absolutely nothing. Exactly.
We talked about how that we really needed for Nicole and Corey. The worst case scenario was going to be Corey winning HOH, but you saw Corey saying to Nicole, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe James would throw a competition. Oh my gosh, I can't believe, why would everybody do that to throw a competition? That's the worst thing you could do." And we're saying that this is so bad for Corey to win the competition. And now, Brent, here's the competition tonight where I would have to think that whoever has the longest fingers in the house is going to have an advantage in this chicken coop, no?
I don't know. Natalie was cooking along there until she dropped one. I don't know if you guys saw that she dropped one at the very end of the show when she was moving on up. So I was like, the Jeffersons, she's moving on up. Anyway, so she was moving. If I had to put my eggs, so to speak, on one person at this point, I would put them on Natalie because she seemed to have a really good rhythm going until she dropped it there at the end. But it looked like everybody else was having trouble too, and nobody else had knocked over a letter when we went to the end of the show. So I'd have to say Natalie was probably my pick to win, but I've been fooled before. I will say this really quickly, though. If anybody uses an egg to put it in the half slot to make sure that they're a half for the week, if anybody besides Corey does this, oh my God, am I still here?
Yeah. You're still here. Taryn, are you still here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm still here.
Is Brent gone?
I'm not sure.
Well, okay. Here's what I'll say about Corey. He has talked about wanting to throw this competition. Actually, when he was by himself, he talked about like maybe I don't want to win this. I know this probably sounds crazy to you guys, but
oh my
I think
God,
it might actually right. Like it's a revelation to him. Like wait a minute, it might actually be beneficial to throw a competition. Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't kind of put in a full effort into this competition. But, this is Corey we're talking about, so.
So do you have a handicap person, or can you handicap this challenge with who you think is going to win?
This one always is a difficult one to gauge because they don't really test this kind of skill on any other Big Brother competition.
Vanessa won this last season, right?
Yeah, she did.
Remember, Jillian won it in Big Brother Canada, right?
Yeah. So, I think it tends to be people with, nice, dexterous
Taryn, this is all your fault!
No, I got you out. Go away.
You're giving him a big meat speech for getting knocked out of the Google Hangout?
You're
That's
like
the
Victor.
first time it's ever happened in my life. The entire Firefox just crashed on me totally, and I'm like, this is all Taryn's doing. I know it. No, anyway, I said if anybody takes the have, they should be shot because it's all about the power this week. You can put up with being a have-not.
Okay. So is this a bad fit for James, do you think, Brent?
As far as the competition goes?
Yes.
Yeah, probably a bad fit. He doesn't have long fingers, and the fingers that he does have are kind of fat, so I can't imagine it's going to be a good competition for him. Although it looked like Paul and it looked like Paul and Victor were having equally a hard time. So I don't know. I really don't want Corey to win Head of Household because I feel like that would be bad for him and Nicole. Although I'm not necessarily rooting for them. I do think that Victor would. I don't know. Victor and Natalie would probably be my picks to win, although we'll have to see when we come back from the live feeds.
Yeah, and a Natalie HOH here, then do we expect the Sitting Ducks to go up on the block? Is that probably...
I would have said that 24 hours ago, but Natalie said on the feeds, and maybe it was just her being angry, but she said, if Corey and Nicole backstab us on this and evict Meech, who's our girl, I'm going to go after them, not Paul and Victor. So, it's not a double eviction. She's going to have a day to think about it. I still think if you have your druthers, look, Meech is gone. You're pissed off about it. You didn't like it, but you still have two duos in front of you. You have to choose one of them to work with. You'd rather work with the one that's less of a comp threat in Nicole and Corey rather than massive comp threats in terms of Paul and Victor. I just think Natalie would quickly go with Nicole and Corey if she has her druthers.
Okay. We'll see how that all plays out. This was also a weird episode where we got to see a lot of videos from the loved ones, followed by a real deep dive into the life of Victor, which we've done this a couple times this season. We did one with Paul. Really goes to show you, Taryn, nothing going on this week in the Big Brother house.
Yeah, I was like they are pulling out all of the stops for this episode. Like every filler segment that they have, they were like, we'll throw it in this one. We've got absolutely nothing. Not only did they have no strategizing because Michelle, James, and Natalie did nothing this week, but also any plans for next week included the words double eviction.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they told them that there wouldn't be a double eviction in the future. They're like, just stop talking. We need actual footage.
I think that's a good call, Taryn. I wondered why Julie said that to them, but I'm really glad she did because I'm so tired of hearing about it on the live feeds.
Yeah, Taryn, do you like it that they told them that there would be no double eviction this season?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, in general, I think it would be nice to keep them in the dark about that sort of thing. But I think the fact that they would just be constantly talking about it would definitely get old.
Okay.
Yeah. Rob,
All
did
right.
you like the goodbye messages? Because I really did. I thought or not the goodbye messages, but the messages from the family members to the house guests. I mean, because to me it looked like the America. We talked about this on the preview podcast when we did it with the cast assessment, but it looked like the America I know. You have like Asian Americans and Latinos and Caucasians. It was a really heartwarming experience. I like seeing the family members talk to the house guests. I know technically, I think a purist in Big Brother would probably say, I don't really like that, but it doesn't hurt anything and it warms the heart a little bit. I thought it was a good call.
I think we've been doing that since Big Brother 14,
Right.
Taryn. Is that right? That I remember it was like a Sunday night episode where they ended up showing everybody from home, and I feel like that we've been done that pretty much every season along the way now.
Yeah, and I think it's been done, maybe not in this exact format, but I think it's been done, in past seasons as well. Definitely like I can remember Robert chatting with his daughter on the phone. They got like phone calls at one point, so that's
Right.
that's way more contact than even this was. So it's definitely nothing new to Big Brother.
I did really like the part where after they showed James's message from home, that Julie Chen needed to sort of explain who this other woman was, because they've been building up the whole James and Natalie showman's thing, and then we have like and James, so who is that woman to the right of your daughter? Is that is your baby mama? Is that correct?
It's like, they did not want to have those two other people in that.
Yeah,
pit.
yeah. Just
That
can we just
mother
get a
was
video of the daughter?
That mother was like, "There's
Nope.
no way I'm letting
Nope,
my
I
daughter."
am in that video. I'm surprised you didn't say, and that Natalie, you get away from that James. Typical Jersey girl, get away from him.
Hey, based
Right.
on some of the things she was saying on Twitter earlier in the season, I wouldn't be surprised if she did say that and they just cut it out.
Typical Jersey girl, get away from my man. Nobody gets in between me and my man. That's right.
I will say really quickly, like if you looked at the house guests though, like there were like two people that looked like they had money, like they came from money, in terms of like Corey and Michelle. Those people looked like they were living pretty good at home, whereas everybody else looked like you couldn't really tell what was going on there. I don't know.
We
I'm just
don't know.
saying.
We don't know.
Right, exactly. We didn't know. We
Dangerous
didn't know.
territory.
But exactly. I'm just saying, if the house guests they pick up on anything, I wouldn't be surprised if they talk about it.
Yeah, and Corey got to see his dog, so all is right with the world, Karen.
Well, that just gave me a thought. If you're a family member and you're taping a video, put some dreary looking stuff in the background.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, this is a long time thing on reality TV, going back to Survivor Thailand, where
Oh, yeah.
Brian Heidick's wife at the time, I believe Cece was her name, and she's like, "Brian, we miss you so much. Like, here's your Lamborghini." Like, she's like showing like all like the rich stuff. So yeah, you want to sort of like get your family inside like a cardboard box, like, "We miss you so much. Hope they turned the electricity off. Hope you can make it back okay." Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be
Exactly.
good to do that. All right. So I want to get to the questions here in a little bit. What else before we start to get to some questions, Taryn? Anything else from the episode?
I mean, I feel like maybe Brent has something.
Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, look, for those of you who don't play Big Brother, this shows this little editing thing that they showed about Nicole being freaked out by Victor possibly voting out Paul. When he walked into the bathroom and talked to Michelle. These are the kind of things that can get you in trouble in the Big Brother house. Something as totally innocent and benign as Michelle walking into the bathroom and then Victor walking in after her. That caused a lot of consternation on Nicole's part. So, I mean, like, it behooves you to have awareness of, and Andy Herron did this really good, an awareness of where you are in the house and how other people are perceiving you, of where your position is in the house. And I don't think he did anything on purpose there. Obviously, it was pretty benign, but, anything could have happened with that. You never know what goes on in Nicole's head. She's notoriously flippy when it comes to big plans.
Something else to look forward to for next Thursday's show is probably a jury house segment. Should be pretty strong once Big Meech gets to the jury house and she can continue her feud with Paulie and how she beat him in the game. That'll be pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we couldn't even see a jury house segment tonight because the jurors who were there are the same exact jurors who were there last week.
Yeah,
so,
it must have gotten pretty boring this past week. If even on
Right.
tonight they didn't even give us a jury house segment.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey guys, can you do that thing that you did last week? Can you do that again? Berate Polly again.
Me and Zakia, we patched up our differences, and now everything is on lockdown. You could
Right.
say that everything in the jury house is OTT right now.
Rob, did you hear that the Calafiore family was not exactly happy with CBS and the producers of Big Brother about the editing job they did with their boy there?
Well, go on, Brent.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Paul Calafiore and his wife, I forget her name, Mrs. Calafiore, were very
Mama C
upset.
is her name.
Mama
Brent.
C is her name, exactly. They were very upset about the way that they felt CBS badly edited Paulie to look like a woman hater and an ass, and they let everybody know on Twitter. He got into a little bit of a fight with Evil Dick. Evil Dick then eventually blocked him on Twitter, as he's wont to do, and that's how it ended. But they were not happy. Not happy with CBS, the Calafiore family.
Yeah. My brother Cody is a Big Brother royalty. How could they give me a bad edit? I don't understand why they would do that.
Right.
So, all right, so maybe that's it. No Calafiores. This could be it. They could be taking their business elsewhere.
I think so.
You say that now.
Right, exactly.
Then,
Cody's back for All Stars.
BBOTT, the Calafiore brothers, coming back together.
Playing as one person. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right, let's keep going. Let's start with these questions. Brendan Viegas, verified. Is James a bad enough player to overlook this week's blindside and stick with Nikori? Yeah, so let's try to push forward past this vote. Taryn, is James going back to Nicole and Corey? I guess everything is dependent on who has HOH. We're gonna say, we're still good, right? We're still got a deal, right? We're still good.
James really only has a choice if he or Natalie wins HOH. In which case, I could honestly see it going either way. I honestly think the smart move is to stick with Nicole and Corey. I think that Paul and Victor are bigger threats, especially right now, especially jury threats. So I think he does have to take a shot at them, and it's really not a good situation he's been put in because of last week, and he really should have been on top of the ball and stopped this from happening if he could have. But yeah, I think that he has to stick with Nicole at least for one more week.
Brent, I do think that the interesting person to win HOH this week might be Natalie, where if she's now in a position of power and James is the one who's like the last couple of weeks has been swearing like, trust me on this, we're fine, everything is okay, and from when he gave up in the HOH competition last week, she's like, yeah, you just couldn't have won that HOH competition, you know, like she's been sort of like second guessing him, and he's like, woman, I got this, let me do the thinking around here.
He said that earlier today.
What did he say?
He said, be quiet, woman. I know what I'm doing. Like
hold on, don't give him a bad edit on the podcast.
I'm not giving him a bad edit. He was okay. He was talking to Meech when he said it, but Natalie was standing right there. Meech was freaking out about going home. He's like, woman, I got this. Okay, I know these people. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said it.
And so now we get to the point where could maybe Natalie say, you know what? I'm done listening to you. We did it your way. We're in this mess now. Now it's my way, James.
I don't know. I kind of agree with Taryn. I mean, it's like Nicole last week. Maybe she would have liked to get rid of Paul because she, didn't really care for him, and he's an obvious jury threat, but her hands were tied. I think this week, if Natalie wins head of household, again, her hands are tied. I mean, yes, you would like to get rid of Nicole and Corey because they betrayed you. On the other hand, by doing so, you leave a very powerful jury threat duo in the game in Paul and Victor. It depends on whether she's playing emotionally or logically. For the most part, Natalie, I'll probably get some Twitter feedback from this. I think when she has to make a game move, she's played for the most part logically. If she has to put up two nominees, I'm thinking she's going to put up Paul and Victor. Not to mention the fact that she's always been on this girl power thing. I think she would like to go to the final two with either James or Nicole at this point. So I can't imagine she's going to want to target them.
Taryn, this is such an interesting game moment where you have these three pairs of two, and whoever gets into power this week is going to probably split up one of those pairs, thereby pushing the remaining member of that pair to the other pair. This is actually sort of a terrible week to be the person wielding the hatchet, because you set yourself up by winning this week. Your pair survives, but you end up going into the next week down 3-2, no matter
3-1.
I'm sorry, 3-1.
Well, no, you're right. It's 3-2, but in the HOH competition, it's going to be 3-1. So
Right.
you're in a really bad position heading into next week. On the other hand, somebody like Paul and Victor, they have to win head of household here. If they don't win head of household there, I have to believe they're going to go on the block. Like I said, Corey should not win head of household, but I mean, I like the way this season's been going. I wouldn't be surprised if he does it.
Okay, Taryn. So with that in mind, do you have anything to add to this strategery?
No, I mean, I think you're totally right. I do think it's a really interesting situation because it's very much like a stalemate on all ends, where it's like, if you do take this power, you will be in a very, very, very vulnerable position next week. But if you don't take this power, you might be the one going out this week. So it's very interesting, and I always equate this back to Risk, where it's like the person that takes the hit to go after the big threat, and they lose all their armies doing so, is always the one that gets screwed in the end because they wasted too much of their capacity to take somebody out. And that's exactly where they're sitting right now. And really, this is become a game where they have to now rely on like their social abilities. Like if Paul and Victor cannot win this HOH and survive to next week, then they've almost won the game at that point.
All right. Can I say something else that could be getting into hot take territory?
Sure.
This is not a bad season of Big Brother. I said it. It's not. I feel like that worst season ever. We're at the final 6. It's anybody's game. We have exciting strategy to talk about. This was a slow week, but we've had big moments along the way. Taryn, is that too hot of a take?
No, I mean, I feel like we've been kind of talking about this for a little while, where I think that especially since the Pauly flip and then the sort of betrayal of Paul and Victor, I think that the season has really stepped it up a notch, even though
we were headed towards worst case scenario. We really were. We were headed off the cliff, and we could end up, hypothetically, if we end up with Paul and Victor getting to, say, Final 3 and one of them winning the game, we could, a year from now, we'll talk about this was it's not as good as BB18. That season was great. You guys will be waxing poetic for Januaries to come.
I do think that's contingent on a Paul or Victor win, though. I think that if anybody else wins...
Corey wins, we're like, worst season ever.
Well, I think it'll still be seen as...
Oh my gosh, this was the best season ever. It was like Christmas in September.
I think it'll still be seen as like it wasn't a bad season, guys. Well, remember all that fun time we had, after the Pauly flip and Paul almost winning, and I feel like that's sort of where we'll go.
Yeah, Brent, are you in on this?
I mean, I'm in on this. I would have liked a little bit bigger personalities. Like I said earlier, we have a lot of non-confrontational people in the house, and that's not really my cup of tea. I prefer more Big Brother 14 kind of playing, but I'm cool with these people, and they've definitely stepped it up, as Taryn noted. The Pauly leading up to the Pauly eviction, or that week leading up to it, actually, was when I talked about on the live feeds the footsteps of people realizing that Pauly was in power. I was glad to see they weren't going to be sheep being led to the slaughter or lambs, whatever. It was good to see that people woke up and decided to start playing Big Brother.
Okay. Could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse.
Where we're
exactly.
coming from. R. Vandervest, final thoughts on the I'm a super fan Big Meech. Does blowing up people's games when you think you're going home good enough to be considered a memorable player? Taryn, this idea, the Big Meech, it does seem though. She does not seem so much like a super fan, but almost like a super casual, where it's the idea of you got to make big moves, you got to have big moments. She's like playing for the top 10 list of memorable moments in a season, but not necessarily playing to win the game.
I agree, and to her credit, I feel like the fact that almost nobody else does that kind of said, like, even though I think she does it kind of poorly, but it still stands out because so many people do the like, I've loved spending every moment of this game with you guys. It's just been such an honor. Like, it's so boring most of the time that anything out of the norm is kind of like, oh, whoa, what's going on here? And then, she stumbles over her words quite a few times and is very sort of awkward as she calls out people on her way out. But it is kind of like entertaining in a very train wrecky kind of way. Right. And so I think that ultimately it works. Like, if you want to play for being a big character, I think that it's pretty easy to do so.
Playing for the YouTube highlight reel of best moments of BB-18. She's got a lot on the reel. She's got a lot on there.
Yeah, she does. Look, I'm going to lambaste her for her play this week. It was absolutely non-existent, but I will give her credit. At least she didn't spend her final moments, saying hi to mom and dad there in the final 2 speech. She literally used all of her time and took as much time as they could probably give her, saying, look, it's a bad idea to keep Paul. If you keep Paul and Victor together, you really run the risk of them going to the final 2. They're massive threats in the game. I wish she would have said that about 3 days ago. Maybe she would have had a chance.
And I'm telling you that cut to 2 weeks from Friday when we're sitting there and Taryn, you and I are there on a Friday night once again. Here's a flash forward. Taryn, what did you think of the Big Meech montage when Nicole said to Corey, hey, you guys, do you remember Big Meech and all the blow-ups that she had in the house, that she was so out, OTT? And then cut to Big Meech montage, the Meech-tage. It's happening.
The Meech-tage. Somebody just said in the chat that like they feel like Mish is more of a fan of like a BB like personality superfan than a BB strategy superfan, and I think that's very apt. I think that she's a huge fan of the big moments and the big personalities, and she really wanted to echo that.
Just so you guys know, Willie Hance is my cousin-in-law too.
Maybe she was like, I just dawned on me, like, was she doing like a Zach Rance thing where like, I'm related to this person?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I couldn't remember if like that came to me from somebody else or if you said it previously.
Like,
I know, but like he went along with
him of it.
They accused him of it, then he went along with it. Exactly.
Yeah.
This is the weirdest thing ever. And so that she saw that stood out to people, and so she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do it too."
Yeah, it's so crazy, so crazy. I don't know. Carson Copperson, for the future of the Final Four Alliance, would it have been better to target someone like Natalie or James this week instead of Meech? I mean, this is something that we've talked about at length this week, but Taryn, we didn't have you on the show last night. Any credence to the idea of it would have been better to go after Natalie or James in the spot where Nicole could have renominated somebody?
No, I don't think so. I think that Michelle is the perfect person to take out here. She's always been gunning for Nicole. She's always hated Nicole. She gets to take that out of the house, and she leaves in the threatening pair and James, the person that both Victor and Paul want out more than anyone else, and has the best relationship with her. I think that it's a no-brainer to take out Michelle here.
Okay, this is from Katie Wallace. When was the last time we had a tiebreaker in an eviction? Taryn, do you have that top of mind, the last tiebreaker we had in a live eviction?
Was it Vanessa with Austin in her shoes?
The final
exactly.
5?
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Good
stuff.
Times, Taryn. Good
amazing,
times. Awesome.
amazing times.
Yes. Michael GM says, Nicole says that evicting Michelle was strictly strategic. Was it really strategic or just personal? Well, we outlined all of the reasons why it was strategic this week, but Brent, was it personal as well?
I think it was a little bit personal. I mean, Michelle made it obviously that she did not like Nicole, that she didn't really care for her, as Taryn correctly pointed out in the live feeds show, that or even on this show with you, that when Michelle tried to backtrack and salvage her relationship with Nicole after calling her a snake, she was like, well, but you're kind of still a snake, and she would make snake jokes about Nicole. Like, I mean, Nicole knew that Michelle didn't like her, so I don't blame Nicole for strategically wanting Michelle out of the picture, but also getting the extra added bonus of, yeah, it was a little personal too.
Little personal. So mixing business with pleasure for Nicole's HOH week. Benjamin Beckwith says, as a jury member, would you hold it against Paul for his bad start to the game? Also, is there anyone left that he would lose a final to against? Well, Taryn, did anybody hold a bad start against Will Kirby or Dan Giesling?
I wouldn't hold a bad start against somebody in the sense that like they got put in a bad situation. Like I think that Paul having to face returning players and not really knowing the game well, I think that's all fine. But he also made a lot of like really bad mistakes in the beginning of the game. I would hold those against him.
Come on, seriously, that was ancient history.
No, I would hold it. I wouldn't hold it against him to the extent that I wouldn't vote for him. I think that he's still far and away. I think he's far and away a better player than anyone else in there. But like if I'm looking at him as a player, that's how I'm evaluating him. And he made, I think, mistakes that Dan and Will didn't.
Okay. And what about in terms of the final two? Let's just open it up. This is my question to you, Taryn. Is anybody drawing dead in the final two at this point? Because this might be a historic final six where do we have anybody that we could say at final six is dead in the water?
I don't think so. I think Corey is the closest.
I think Natalie's right behind him.
And I think Natalie's there too, but I think they both do have a shot if they get there.
Yeah, I think Paul is a clear winner. Clear winner if he gets to the final two.
Friendship. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. And this is Jonathan Clark. Was Meech basically dead in the water the second Rob picked her to win? I mean, I did endorse her going into but she was in a really good spot. It's not like that she was actually in a bad spot and then somehow, she doesn't start playing bad because she had Meech Bentham, Taryn. It was real.
She had Meech Mentum.
It wasn't a Meech rush.
It carried her right off the cliff, Rob.
Right off.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Poor Meech. Poor Meech. Okay.
Not poor Meech. She didn't do anything this week.
Yeah.
Except steal.
Brent, do you want to dance on her grave finally for saying that she didn't like any of the live feed correspondence before the season started?
Yeah, Michelle, we don't like you either. You sucked as a player. You were terrible. I didn't even like your speeches on TV because you would stumble all over yourself all the time, and you don't have the voice for Big Brother either.
She really did waste, I think, all of her good speeches during the double eviction. I felt like that the speeches tonight I was a little underwhelmed, Taryn.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, thank you for trying, I guess, but like it would have been better if she had been a little more articulate.
Well, the problem was it was like a policy speech. Like she was trying to give them reasons why Paul and Victor should not be together in this game, and really what we wanted her to give us was a rally speech where we're like, yeah, you go, Michelle, you get him, girl, and she tried to mix the two, and it just didn't work.
Taryn, we touched on it last night, the idea of, is Meech stealing clothes and props from the Big Brother house? We did see her tonight with an empty hanger in her mouth. Potentially a clothes item was on that. Do you have
Did she eat it?
Yeah, do you have
what she's doing with it?
on Big Meech Gate?
I think it's kind of like a funny theory, I guess. I don't know why they wouldn't have called her out on it, because like obviously that would have been on the feeds, or even like did some sort of segment on it, because that would have been really funny. And that's the biggest piece of evidence to me that says like maybe it's not true, because they'd obviously have that footage, and why not do like a really funny segment about how Misha's like a kleptomaniac?
In my heart of hearts, I have to feel like it's not true. I hope it's true, but I have to feel like it's not true.
I don't know, Rob.
Crazy. It's so.
She's kind of that girl. Someone tweeted me a picture of her. Now this doesn't rise to the level of her stealing from people, but like she took a ball from the ball pit during the double eviction, and then she took Paul's pool floaty on the way out the door just to be mean. Like I can see her being this kind of girl. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I just know from different survivors. You know how many like survivors like steal tree mail and stuff like that, and clues. I mean, you are out there. You feel like it's going to be a once in a lifetime experience, and you want to have any sort of memorabilia that you can. I don't think it's that uncommon that people who are fans want to take something from the house and bring it home with them.
Well, hopefully we'll get the answer eventually, but only Michelle knows for sure.
Yes. I think she would cop to it. I think she would.
Yeah,
we'll know soon enough. We see things on eBay from, Michelle Smith from Michigan somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Anthony966, question for Taryn. Who from BB18 would you want to see on American Ninja Warrior? I think there's only one answer, right?
I mean, we have to see Victor, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Brent, were you even more on the Victor train after seeing the whole highlight reel of his family?
Oh yeah, not only his family but his friends. Obviously he's had a little bit of a rough life. Obviously, it's so funny because I've always wanted to go to Puerto Rico, and he's apparently spent like half of his life there, and he says his heart's in Puerto Rico. He'd be a wonderful winner. I mean, I know he's been evicted twice, but I really don't. Like I said on the Live Feed show, that just seems to me like bringing people back is an element of Big Brother now, both in Big Brother and Big Brother Canada. So it's just I don't even care about that at this point. If Victor gets to the end, he has a valid argument to win.
Yeah, I'd say who cares? Taryn, is there anybody that's in all of BB fandom that's going to be annoyed with a Victor win because he got voted out twice?
I think that there will be people who are annoyed that Victor won, and that's a reason that they'll use. But I think that's because they already don't like Victor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think that if you get voted out once, you shouldn't win. If you get voted out twice and you come back and win, I think you should win. I think you deserved it. I think that that's the case.
Well,
I'll fight.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, you broke the curse, Taryn. That was it. And so I never thought I would endorse a player who went out and came back in, but I do think, I would have endorsed the Johnny Mac win last season, but it was like he didn't leave the lot. But I would say that for Victor, especially the second time, it was a very much like Johnny Mac-like, where he didn't go with 10 feet away from the house at any point in the second time that he came back in. I say let him have it. Let him have it. Double negative.
I'd be totally fine with a Victor win. That doesn't mean that I would think that he's a great player, but I think whatever. Like we're not talking about the great players anyway, and so why not Victor?
Why not? Okay. So in terms of the HOH competition, do we have a winner yet?
We do not have a winner yet. We have an update on
close. Hold on. Yeah,
close. Yeah.
So close. Okay. All right. So how much longer do you think until we have a
Well, I can tell you that
could be any second.
Right. A couple people have one letter left.
All right. So let's answer a couple questions, and then we'll talk about the HOH winner in the spoiler section and talk about what the fallout of that might be. So let's take a few more questions. Stephen H says, do you think that not telling James and Natalie they're voting out Michelle was a bad move by Nicole and Corey? Do you think that James and Natalie would go after Nikori if either one of them wins HOH? So we talked about the first part about whether we thought it was a bad move or not. But in terms of James and Natalie going after Nikori, of the two, who would be more likely to want to go after Nicole and Corey? Who would have the stomach for that more, James or Natalie, Taryn?
I do think it would be Natalie. I think that even though James is probably bit hurt by it, I think that he's somebody who's still thinking about we have to look at our position in the game and how would it make sense for us to move forward, and I think he would look at Paul and Victor as big threats, whereas Natalie might be more sort of revenge focused and think or maybe even less so. Maybe she just sees Nicole as a bigger threat than either Paul or Victor, where Nicole can win these mental competitions and she knows that mental competitions are coming up, and so I think maybe she'd come at it from that angle, as well as the sort of they screwed us too.
Brent, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Natalie is clearly the one of the two who would go after Nicole and Corey. I really don't think either one of them would, but if I had to make a call, I would say it's going to be Natalie for the reasons that Taryn said. And if Paul and Victor can they got two things that they can play. One, the competition's coming up, favor Nicole. Two, they were lying to you all week. They were planning this. They wanted Michelle out from the beginning. That's why they didn't put Paul and Victor up. I mean, because if they wanted Paul to go, they should have put Victor up. I mean, they should have seen this coming since the nominations, and they didn't do it, and that's on them.
Taryn, is this a new wrinkle in the egg moving contest, this idea of now then you have to roll the eggs down a ramp? Wasn't it always you just had to get your eggs through?
Yeah, very much so. They have to hit a sort of a target, and it's very difficult to hit this target apparently. So it's making this much more of a sort of crapshoot where there are a lot of people who are at a similar amount of targets hit at any given time, and so any one egg could make all the difference.
Right. The thing that's really interesting, and we saw this on the show. Only the O is directly in front of the ramp.
Oh!
The two H's are on either side, so you really have to go on one side and roll it down diagonally to try and get a shot at it, which isn't very easy at all.
Meanwhile, somewhere in the boogie down Bronx, Glenn is sitting there. Do you know how much time I spent practicing with eggs?
I'm sure he could tell us strategically how he would win this. Please stop.
Yeah, I had the whole thing figured out. I was going to get back in, and then I was going to get to the HOH competition. Oh, forget it.
maybe we can have him show us his amazing egg handling skills in person if he makes it to the live Know It All show.
Yes. You're giving all these dogs haircuts. Yeah, I got amazing dexterity. Shannon Kish says, why did Michelle throw Pablo into the audience? That piece of memorabilia would sell at one of the highest bids on eBay. So, wait, hold on. Brent, did she take the life vest and throw it into the audience?
This is the thing. She is. Yeah, exactly. It's not a life vest. It's a floaty. I mean, she's a vindictive bitch. Like, she knows how much that means to Paul. That's his toy that he's had it in the house the whole time. This is the equivalent of Kelsey walking off with the duck. In Big Brother Canada when she took who was the blonde girl's name? Who we didn't the bitch?
Maddie.
Thank you. Exactly. She took Maddie's duck. Exactly. It always comes down to a duck, doesn't it, Taryn? I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I did read on Twitter. I don't know how reliable this is because it hasn't been confirmed or anything. But I did read that apparently they gave the Pablo back to the house. This
is a big revelation. Should that be allowed, Taryn? Should that be allowed? Once it was evicted, should it be allowed to come back in the house? And should the floaty be able to win if it gets to the final two?
Clearly, production interference. He didn't even have to win a competition to come back in.
Yeah, right. Very not fair. Very not fair. All right, L Anonymous says, till now, why have we not heard a single confession by Corey talking about his relationship with Nicole? If he's saying he's not interested, then wouldn't that be a cue for good TV as well?
Yeah.
There's history for this though.
Oh my gosh, we're just having sex. It's not. It's not like we're
it's not even that, unfortunately. Corey's made it known to Nicole and to many of the other house guests that he's not here for a relationship. He doesn't want a long-distance relationship with Nicole. Like, at this point, they're kind of just F-buddies at that point. I mean, that's really what it is. I mean,
I think
that's how I see it. It's the truth.
I think Nicole thinks there's something more than that. And I think that, like I said, there's sort of history for this where, like, with Shane and Danielle, like, they didn't really show on the show that, you know, one maybe was a little less interested in the other. And almost really the same thing with Drew and Diane, where, like, you know, they really sort of seem to protect these unrequited relationships, maybe because they like having the romantic sort of, they love the showmances. They don't want it to be like super ones, unless it's like Boogie and Erica, I guess.
Yeah, I think that for Big Brother, it is a family show. It's on 8 p.m., you know, 2 out of its 3 times during the week. I think that that's an easier story to tell of, look at this other cute couple, and look at this cute couple, and look at this cute couple. And it's like, well, this is just, he's just having sex with her.
That's basic, and that's what's happening. So, like, let's be real about it.
He loves dogs.
Exactly. He loves Christmas. He loves the reindeer.
But he just loves sex without attachment. Also.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Is that like Christmas? Yeah, Christmas comes once a year, but that's not true about me. He's
a very complex person, Rob.
Complex
many
guy. Okay.
With personality.
L Anonymous says, till now, why have we not heard a single? This is same topic. Thought I could just quickly change the subject about that after that. Okay. Let's see. This is this is the obligatory card. Is Taryn single? Taryn is bae. Taryn could low key model. Taryn, would you low key model?
I technically have as a child.
A child model. All right. Do not.
I was wondering.
So, like, what you're talking about, like last year.
You're heading into dangerous territory.
You modeled last year.
You'll never find it.
Yeah, you'll never find them. You'll never find them. All right. Let's get out of that as well. And one other question. And
let me clear this up. You are single, right, Taryn? Because we get this question all the time. So just tell the people: are you single or are you not?
Of course.
Okay, yes. He's single and ready to mingle. You can tweet him.
Let Big Jeff take that line of questioning, bro. Don't step on his territory. That's his thing. GTFO, Brent. Robin Ryan says, how can us Canadians watch Big Brother online? I'm legit going to die if I cannot watch a season of BB because I'm Canadian. I can't get CBS online because I'm in Canada. All right, well, this is going to be a thing. I know our own Scott St. Pierre has been tweeting to Global TV. What are we going to do? Brent, how will Canadians figure out what to do? Now, I'm an American, and there was no way for me to watch Big Brother Canada, yet I saw every episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to tell you guys, but I mean, maybe there are people on the internet who can help you out with this. You can look around. I mean, I found ways to watch Big Brother Canada, and I'm in the United States, so I have to believe that there's ways for people in Canada to watch Big Brother proper.
I think that there's plenty of ways. We disavow any sort of sharing of the links and anything like that. But I'm sure that they will pop up. I'm not going to be tweeting anything out. If people are in the chat room posting links, that's their business. We disavow, and I'm sure that there will be ways for the Canadians to figure it out, and people around the world.
There is always a way.
There's always a way. There's always a way out. That's just like Michelle's cousin-in-law used to say, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Update on the HOH competition. Are we getting close?
Well, same position as we were in before. 3 people tied with. No, Brent, we do not have a winner. We do not have a winner.
Well, could you get out your dry erase board and project a winner at this hour?
I mean,
you feel comfortable?
Do you want me to say what's going on?
Well,
okay, cool.
Well, hold on. Let's give the spoiler update, okay?
All right.
And spoilers to come now. All right, so this is the spoiler time. We're gonna have an update overnight coming up on Friday. Maybe some other. Maybe if I catch up with the birthday boy, Rodney Lavoie over the weekend, might have some special coverage as well. Plus our Gen X preview of Survivor coming up, all on Rob as a podcast. And spoilers commencing in 3, 2, 1. All right, Brent. What do you got?
Corey, Victor, and Natalie only have 1 letter remaining left, so they've knocked down 2 letters. James, as I predicted, is doing the worst in this competition. But the thing to keep in mind, and I don't know what they're going to do about this, Natalie has broken quite a few eggs on her ramp, and it is very, very messy. And they're talking about now whether or not they're going to, wipe it off for her because her eggs won't really roll, so she's taken to throwing the eggs at the letter, which may be a better strategy. I don't know. I don't think they should help her. It's her fault that the ramp is messy. If they help her out, I'm calling bullshit.
Taryn, can we get a call here on cleanup aisle Natalie?
I guess so. It's weird. Corey did get to 2 targets hit first. He's been here for a while, but this may be the thing that I was talking about earlier, where maybe he's throwing this now.
No, I don't think so.
Natalie's throwing the eggs.
Victor is saying at this very moment, as he's bringing his egg up, "This is it. I can feel it." So
yeah, okay. He missed again though. The funny part is that James still has not hit 1 letter, and the funny part was I saw Victor. He rolled one down to try to hit the final H, and the egg literally rolled between the H itself, like the space between the 2 stabs at the bottom, and rolled right on through that. It was just great TV. I loved it.
Okay. All right. So you're saying that the projected winner is looking like.
I mean, Victor, it could be Natalie, Victor, or Corey. All have only 1 letter left.
Well, let's talk about the potential negative outcome. If Corey is the HOH here, Taryn, we talked about this being the worst case scenario for him and Nicole on Wednesday night. What would he do?
Honestly, I mean, I think he would want to take, or he said he wants to take Natalie out. He doesn't want James out if he can do that. But we could see, Nicole goes over every scenario. We could see Nicole thinking, maybe Victor and Paul are bigger threats at this point. Maybe we should go back to James and Natalie and see if we can go there, because either way, somebody's taking a shot at them next week. You have to imagine, unless maybe they leave in Victor and Corey and they say, even though we just took one of you out, you have to work with us to take out Victor and Corey still. It really could go anyway at this point.
I think if Corey wins, I think Nicole's going to be calling the shots, but I still think it's going to be really, really hard to turn your back on Paul and Victor after you just did all that Final Four talking about, we're in it to the end, we're going to do this, and, giving $5,000, vote together on this, and then totally turn your back on them. Like, I don't think Nicole has that in her. I really don't.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see because, as we've been saying all week and all night, if you put James and Natalie up on the block, then you end up with whoever doesn't go home potentially wanting to side with Victor and Corey because you didn't put their significant other on the block, and it gets much like Natalie's ramp. It gets very messy very quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think what you could do
if you're Jersey ramp.
if you're Corey, I think you can feasibly take a shot at Natalie. You want to remove that piece from the board. You go to Victor and Paul and say, are you guys with me on this? Because they do not like James. He knows Paul and Victor absolutely hate James. So I think he would feel pretty good about the fact, like, if I take Natalie out this week, you guys will definitely take James out next week. I think they could go for that.
Taryn, could we potentially see one person from one couple and the other person saying that, oh, you're just a pawn? You would put you up as a pawn, and in case James won the veto, then he could take her off, and then we have to put you up anyway. So we just put you up as a pawn, and then if you win the veto, then we'll put James up.
I think because of that scenario, people will be like, wait a minute, now this is not okay because that scenario could happen, and if you're on our side, why would you allow that possibility?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Like, whoever goes up is going up as a pair. The nominees next week are going to be James and Natalie, Victor and Paul, or Corey and Nicole. There's not going to be any switching of those two nominees.
All right, so we will see how it all plays out. We will have an update coming to you on Friday afternoon with the winner of the HOH, plus the potential nominees as we know them. No care package. Taryn, you missed the care package already?
So much, especially the announcement for it. It's such a nice, calming, peaceful, moment in the episode, and I really miss it. It really was like a nice oasis.
Yeah. Okay. So we will see what happens there, plus everything else we talked about. I'm very excited for you guys to hear part 2 of our Survivor 33 preview, all about the Gen X tribe coming up. All right, Scott is telling me we have 2 more questions, so let me just run through these real quick. Gregory McBean says, are we to assume that whatever pair wins HOH tonight will ultimately be sitting on the block next week? True or false statement, Taryn?
Way more likely than not true, but not 100%.
There's my boy, Fancy Fencerton.
Oh, I saw you sitting on the fence earlier, Brent. I saw you sitting on the fence about Natalie earlier.
Yes, Taryn.
By the way, go.
Do you want to respond to Brent's nickname for you, Fancy Fencerton? Is that gonna stick?
Well, I'll say this. Brent only mentions it when he doesn't like what I'm saying, because he doesn't like that I'm consistent and he's not consistent. And when he fence sits, I don't say anything because I know how hypocritical of an argument it is.
It's true. He's right about that. I will own that, definitely. But I will tell you, Rob, this competition is driving me freaking nuts.
Seriously. It was
every time they go to shoot.
When it came on, I was like, I can't imagine a world where, like, I was a Big Brother contestant and be like, yeah, at some point my entire game for $500,000 is going to come down to trying to move an egg through a fence. That's really your whole game. Every season, somebody's game is affected by a little fence and an egg. It's so
it happened. It happened to Victor again.
So stupid.
His egg rolled through the H again.
Who cares about a stupid egg?
I know.
You should win a lot of money because you're good at carrying an egg through a chain link fence. You're the best.
It's just like Survivor. You got to practice. Just like you have to practice fire making, you've got to practice rolling eggs up through little chain link fence type things.
Yeah. How do you practice that? You sit there in the backyard, like, oh, there's a fence. Let me get a dozen eggs.
Do a farm
on this. Yeah.
Let me say,
American Ninja Warrior packages. They train on farms.
Exactly. I would be like Glenn. I have piano fingers. Okay. I could win this competition. My fingers are thin and long. Like, I would have this competition hands down. I would have it. I'm
It
telling you.
was the one poison egg that I went for too early. If I could do it over again, why would I have to be an idiot? And I asked them, could I put the poison egg in?
Yeah, do we really have to hear about your fingers, Brent? Like, come on. Oh, you've got everything thought out, don't you?
Yeah. All
You
right.
really do my strategic bed placement.
And then finally, Johnny DeSavera, the great Johnny DeSavera, said he takes a break from tweeting about Breaking Bad to say, does RJP need to pitch in and help at Tulane Terry go into the witness protection before we last talked to Ian Terry, I think it was this past Thursday, and he was still thumbs up on Big Meech. But
He is.
I just hope. Here's what I'm hoping. I just hope that, Ian Terry and Big Meech don't get together, and then all of a sudden Ian Terry, everything just starts getting taken from his apartment one thing at a time. It's all a plan just to get in to the Ian Terry vault of BB14 memorabilia.
I saw Ian on Twitter. They talked about Meech liking Ian Terry, saying that even if she gets evicted, at least she'll always have a shot at Ian Terry. And he's like, "Well, I'll be at the rap party." And I said, "Good luck with that."
Look,
After the rap party, Rob, you're gonna get a call from Ian. He's gonna say, "Listen, there's like some money has just been like vanishing from my bank account. I don't know what's going on." And you're gonna be like, "Listen, Ian, we need to talk.
We need to talk. We have to have a Meechtervention."
But she's Dan's cousin-in-law, so she'll know how to just missed it.
Well,
all the
this
way.
is like Dan should have won that $500,000. I'm taking it from you now. One
I can see that, right?
Time, Ian.
It's all been a big
It's one
conspiracy.
big scam.
Yes, this whole time, she makes so much more sense now.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, I think we cracked the case. All right. So fun stuff. Okay. So of course, Brent, nice to have you here with us back-to-back nights.
Thank you. I appreciate it. By the way, I'm going to take Paul out to the woodshed. He just used one of his eggs to put it in the have slot.
Oh!
Come on. What is he thinking? Come on.
Pissed. Yeah. All right. Of course, Brent's on Twitter at OneLuckyGay. Taryn is on Twitter as well at Armstrong Taryn. Taryn and I will be back on Sunday night for the final round of the round robin when Taryn and Alex join me. Are you looking forward to a less confrontational night on Sunday, Taryn?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to somebody who isn't quite as feisty in their fight back, I guess. I feel like I've mastered this style, and now I'm ready to master the other style as well.
Classic Fancy Fencerton. Classic Fencerton.
That was pretty bold, I thought. Yeah. Speaking of fences,
yes.
You know who climb fences? Athletes who compete on American Ninja Warrior.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yes.
They just started the Vegas National Finals. It's been pretty great so far. I just did an interview with Lita, and I just did an interview with Ian Dory, legendary American Ninja Warrior competitor, that will be released soon. If you are interested in checking this show out at all, please do so now. It's a really great time to start, and I'm really proud of this podcast that I've put together. So please come and give us one shot.
It is a great podcast. I love your podcast for American Ninja Warrior with you and Lita. And if you guys don't know, me, Mike Bloom, and Ali Lasher are doing a podcast about RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 2. Another episode aired tonight. It was the Snatch Game, Rob. I can't wait to go watch it. I'm going to watch it right after this, and please come join us. We podcast about it once a week.
All right, and if you want to weigh into and stoke the flames of the Brent versus Taryn debate, listen to both of their wrap-ups and then tweet which one you like better, all right? So you can hear them all. Go on robinsonwebsite.com. We'll be back with an update overnight. Looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say in the comments. Don't miss any of our shows when you subscribe to the podcast. robinsonwebsite.com/iTunes. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.